Welcome to Wednesday night, Bullet Grill House High School Sports Pregame Show. Kraig Brian, Brian Besh, Chris Moran sitting in here, and we are in Week 13 of Texas high school football. And
Lucky number 13.
Lucky 13, and the best part about it is it's the playoffs. Man, it's been a week.
It has been.
Like, since last Wednesday, the miles I've put on my truck, the weather that's transpired, it's been something else. Winter is upon us.
It feels that way anyway. We don't get a whole lot of winter in Texas, but this is about as close as it gets.
Dude, it's like I've been wearing a jacket all week. Chris, he's got his hoodie on. We're sitting here at Bullet Grill House. Got the heaters going outside on the patio.
We are in a warm Bullet Grill House because we've got the heaters out here.
I bet it's warmer out here than it is in there.
It's pretty warm in there too.
Is it? I haven't went through the famous glass door yet, but we will be when we go to break here in a little bit. But
the CFO likes it warm, so
and she is here.
She is here. So
she is here. She's here every Wednesday night,
yes,
along with bingo night here at Bullet Grill.
Yes, they are getting ready to play bingo at 7 o'clock every Wednesday night. It's a fun night. So we've got some new heaters out here. So we added 2 more heaters. So we got 6 heaters now, and then 1 propane wall heater. So it's
heaters.
It stays pretty. We can get it up pretty toasty out here.
So the moral to the story is, even if it's freezing outside, it's going to feel good in Bullet Grill House.
No, it is. And then you got 3 screens on the deck. You can't go wrong. Saturdays are a good day to be here. Every day is a good day to be here because the food's like off the chain here at Bullet. But you got screens out here. But we got basketball coming on as on 2 of the screens. I didn't see what was on the far screen over there. And then there's 6 inside.
Yeah, 6 inside.
So lots to do here at Bullet Grill House. And the food is absolutely off the chain. The wife and I swung by here Saturday. On our way back from Huntsville, we went and watched some little Christmas lighting, or we didn't even stay for the lighting. We left. Case was done with it, and Brian, you know Case pretty well.
Yeah,
from our podcast.
Whenever he gets ready to do something, he's ready to go.
Yeah, he is, and so he was ready to go Saturday, and we were coming through, and we got in between Oakhurst and Point Blank. Rachel was like, "Are we gonna eat?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." So she's like, I was like, "What do you want?" She's like, "Well, I don't know." I was like, "I got a good idea." So
the key to that is, no matter what the answer is, it's at Bullet Grill House.
No, we did. We swung in and had dinner Saturday evening. Then I went on home and got my fishing poles ready. Fished the tournament Sunday, but had a good crowd here Saturday night. Chris had live music here this last Saturday, and we could hear it sitting inside. And they had the roll-up door open. It's good night here Saturday night at Bullet Grill House.
We had music all afternoon. We had a band, a couple playing from 2 to 6 in the afternoon. Then we had 6 to 9 at night. So.
And the only way to catch all of the Saturday football action, college football action that Chris and I usually talk about on Saturday mornings is you got to get here and see the 7 screens over here at Bullet Grill House.
Yeah. We'll talk about it on our Saturday morning show, but boy, there was some good games Saturday. So
yeah, there was. I actually watched a couple of them as Alabama wound down that game. What else? There was another one that was going. Can't remember who it was.
The Texas TCU game. You had UCLA and Arizona really late, and then you had, of course, the Alabama Ole Miss game, and then Georgia and Mississippi State, and there was a ton of them that were really good.
I think the one we had on in the afternoon, we got Oklahoma State fans. I think Oklahoma State, Iowa State was on.
Yes,
and that was
on.
That was a good game.
Yeah, it was. Come down to the wire on that one. Frequent flyers right behind us they were glued in on that game. That's like what they were hearing. I'm like, dude, really, Oklahoma State?
Yeah, we've got quite a Oklahoma State following.
So. But, man, we got through the bi-district round of the playoffs this last week, and, Brian, you and I traveled to a couple games, and kind of the first game we went to Thursday night, the Livingston Lions, they fell to a top-ranked Chapel Hill football team that was ranked 7th in the state going in that game. 45-36 game.
Yeah.
Livingston really made their showing in the second half and controlled the clock, had forced turnovers, and really did a great job to finish off their season, in my opinion. And really and truly, with a minute left, they had put themselves in a position to where they were back into that football game and just missed the onside kick.
Yeah, it was a really good showing by the Lions, like you say. First drive, they take it down 11 plays. They don't throw a pass, just straight runs, 11 straight runs, and Coach Vanover wanted to establish the line of scrimmage really quickly. And you normally think with the number 7 team in the state, you probably want to back off from something like that, but they didn't shy away from it. They ran the ball right down their throat. 11 plays, they get into the end zone, and you're thinking, okay, this is going to be something. And then Chapel Hill kind of
does what they do.
Shows you why they are the number 7 team in the state. They scored 4 touchdowns in just over 4 minutes. And before you know it, it's 28-7, and you're looking around like, okay. And it had the opportunity to get ugly, but it didn't, because Livingston just kind of stayed true to the course and kept the ball on the ground. They didn't throw the ball a ton. I think they threw it 4 times in the football game. They completed 1 pass, but they stayed on the ground. And even though it wasn't working after that first drive, they stayed on the ground and was able to get enough to where it's not a complete blowout at halftime. They come back out, and they could have laid down because it's a 30-point game at that point. They score a few touchdowns. They make it interesting. They get a few turnovers. They get some interceptions. They get some fumbles. And all of a sudden, you're right. It is a game by the end of it, and they're punching one in with a minute to go in the game. It's a 9-point contest by the end. They're trying to get the onside kick. And had they gotten the onside kick, obviously they've got to get a couple more scores, but it makes it a lot more interesting if you recover that onside kick. I really like what they were able to do. And, Coach said earlier that week, he said, look, we're just going to stay who we are and work what's worked best for us this entire season. And they absolutely did. And it was the best possible showing, I think, that the Lions could have had against such a formidable opponent. I'll get that word out.
So I've done the last three games of the season for the Livingston Lions. I did the Splendora game, which was an absolute blowout. I did the Lumberton game, and then Chapel Hill. So I got to watch the number 6 seeded team in the state, as well as the 7 against a common opponent. And I felt like Livingston played a better game overall against Chapel Hill than what they did against Lumberton. And if they would have played the game against Lumberton that they played against Chapel Hill, I'm not saying that you change the win-loss record, but it makes it a more broadcastable game. You know what I'm saying?
It got out of hand early, and Lumberton they're really diverse in what they can do, because they can keep it on the ground, and they can become a power run game with the 4 wideouts. And what Lumberton does is they'll spread you out as far as they possibly can, kind of like Old Baylor or some of the old Texas Tech teams, and then they'll run the football right down your throat. And they've got a couple of running backs that can do it. They've definitely got the offensive line that can do it. And what they want to do is they want to match up their big 5 up front against your 6 or 7 in the box, and they feel like they can win that matchup a lot. And if you do want to single them up like Livingston did and play man coverage, well, they've got the idea that they can beat you there too, and a lot of times they will.
Another game that we went and did Friday night, we went and did the Corgan Camden Bulldogs. This is a dogs fight against Garrison. Really good football team, and it's going to be another one this week as well. So, but the game last week, Corgan and Garrison, man, it was Corgan scores early, real early, like with 12 minutes left to go in the first quarter. The opening kickoff, they run 10 seconds off the clock and take it 87 yards.
They do.
For a touchdown. And special teams was key for the Bulldogs.
As was the defense.
And defense. They held Garrison inside, 33 yards total offense in the first half?
Yeah, it was a game to where, like you say, you run the opening kickoff back, in 10 seconds you're up 7-0, and they needed that. They absolutely needed that. You're coming off an undefeated season until you get to that Centerville game, to where Centerville comes out and they put up 35 on you in the first half, and it's 35-0, and the game's over by that point. They come out in this game and needed some momentum more than anything, because you don't know how your team's going to react after their first loss of the season. You don't know where their head's at. Well, you know where their head's at after an 87-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
Dude, it set the whole tempo in the stadium. As the crowd mic was
did.
on, we could hear them Corgan fans when I remembered to turn it on.
Yeah.
You could hear them Corgan fans, and it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
How loud they were. There was a good amount, but not as many as what I expected, and I think the weather had a lot to do with it. There was a lot of them tuning in here on 102.3 The Eagle, and it was absolutely – I mean, they were in the game, and when the crowd is in the game the way they were, those guys on the field follow suit.
And it's a good thing, really. It is that the defense and special teams stepped up the way they did, because the offense wasn't clicking the way that you would want your offense to do. And look,
and you got to credit that to Garrison's defense, what
absolutely.
they set up.
No, they had an incredible run defense, and Corgan Cannon had 1 first down in the first half. And so, you're thinking, okay, well, if you tell Coach Ratliff you're going to have 1 first down in the first half, how do you feel about your chances? He probably doesn't like them. They're up 15-0 by halftime, and then that just extended because they kept getting.
That was a kickoff return.
Mm-hmm. And a defensive touchdown.
And a defensive touchdown on a scoop six.
There's a strip sack there, and the ball just starts rolling into the end zone. They recover it in the end zone. It's 15-0. And Corrigan found their running game. And we talked about it on Monday, but Corrigan had 3 rushers that went for 50 yards, which doesn't sound like a lot, but whenever you got 1 first down in the first half, if you've got 3 50-yard rushers in the second half,
that's 150 yards.
You're doing something.
Yep.
And both teams were held under 200 total offensive yards there in the first half. And the reason being is because Corrigan didn't get their offense started until the second half. Garrison really did never get their offense started.
And that was the key of the game. Corrigan's defense kept Garrison's offense off the field, and they were able to control the clock in the second half, and they controlled the scoreboard. Had a lot of good games going on, and we're going to talk more about Corrigan as we progress on through the show tonight here at Bullet Grill House. But talk about some scores. We're going to start off at 6A and then work our way down to 5A and take a break. But North Shore defeats Pasadena Dobie 49-3. Deer Park falls to Atascocita 48-7. Summer Creek defeats Pasadena South 72-7. Channelview and C.E. King. C.E. King puts a 70 spot up at 6A football. 70 points. That's like 6A numbers. That's like a marginal 6A game or 1A game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
6-man football.
It's impressive what they were able to do, and I don't know what Channelview has. I know that they've always got some athletes over there, and usually there's a D1 prospect somewhere within there. But C.E. King's been doing very well for themselves.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that program grows. New Caney defeats Eisenhower 28-6 was the final there. That game was at Randall Reed Stadium, and New Caney got a big one coming up ahead of them this week. And we caught some flack off our podcast this last week there on the Lone Star Gridiron Network, 599 Sports Show, as buddy of mine, Scott, down there in New Caney, he tunes into our podcast each and every week. Like, I share it to 599 Sports, and they're on Facebook, and I guess he's got his notifications turned on, which everybody at home should too if you follow that page. That way, when we do post, you get those updates. But within 45 minutes, I had a text message from him, and he liked it when it posted. Like 10 minutes later, he liked it. 45 minutes later, he starts sending me text message, giving me some ridicule about talking about this game. But, a 28-6 game, New Caney gets the win. And he's like, man, it's a very vanilla game. The weather, don't show everything you got if you don't have to. And I agree with that.
No, that's absolutely – if you've got the horses to where you don't absolutely have to show everything that you have on offense and give kind of a game plan for your next opponent, you absolutely do it. I mean, at this point in the season, you're kind of at the point to where people have enough film on you throughout the season, and there's not a whole lot of surprises once you get to the playoffs if you do have enough film. But if you're able to get into that next game and are the playoffs and not have to show everything that you have, you've got plenty of time to be working on something new and give a new look to your next opponent. And if you're able to stay vanilla, do it.
And they got an opponent this week with Tomball dropping down to 5A Division I. Barbers Hill defeats Forney 24-6. Kingwood Park falls to Lancaster 47-14. Longview defeats Crosby 49-15. Port Arthur Memorial puts up 58 against McKinney Norse 41. Fort Bend Marshall 56. Huntsville 0. P&G moving on to the area round of the playoffs. 38-6 was the final, 38-17 was the final there. Montgomery Lake Creek defeats Texas City 25-7, and Brenham over Dayton 42-28 there this last week in the bi-district round of the playoffs. And we're here at Bullet Grill House on Wednesday nights recording this high school sports pregame show and getting geared up for Corrigan Camden football this week, as we're going to be traveling to Athens and stuff. But Chris, what do y'all got going on here at Bullet this week?
Well, this Friday night we actually have Jeff Kennedy. He played last Friday night. He's actually coming back for a repeat performance this Friday. So if you're not going to a high school football game this Friday night, come on out to Bullet Grill House, grab some dinner. Jeff's a great performer, entertainer, one of the best we have out here. So come on out and listen to some great live music. Saturday we've got a full lineup of college football. Catch our college game day show Saturday morning, and then NFL Sunday. So a great weekend to come out and watch some sports, listen to some music.
A great lineup here at Bullet Grill House each and every week to come out to and enjoy. Saturdays, you can't go wrong. Breakfast Saturday morning, they start serving at 8
a.m.
And so get in here and get your breakfast here. You're listening to the Bullet Grill House High School Sports Pregame Show on 102.3 The Eagle. We'll be back right after this.